Shout for joy in the Lord, oh you saints, for praise from...
Welcome to my channel. This is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. My name is Debbie, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. Today I'm going to do another project for the hashtag Mass Make March that Cori Dahmen started over at Creating with Scraps. And lots of people are participating in this, and it's so much fun to watch everybody do these mass makes, and I'm just having a lot of fun making mass makes. I always like to do mass makes, and so this was a really fun challenge for me to take part in. Today I decided to do a dupe of a collage frame that Tim Holtz introduced in his last Ideology release. And I've seen some other people do a little bit to do with this, so I thought I would just hop on there and put my own spin on things. And these are really quick, well, they're not super quick, but they're really fun to do, and they really turn out amazing. Like, you put a few scraps together and it just looks like something. So I really had a lot of fun with this. As you can see, I've made quite a few already. These ones I made using, I have an old Sizzix die, just an old frame from Sizzix. This is one of those big thick dies, but you can use different dies. I have these smaller dies that are not the frame part, but you can use a piece of paper and do your collage and then cut out the center like that. So that's another option. And then I also did some using my Cricut. I'm just using up some of my scrapbook paper that I don't like. That's why this is all so ugly. So I just made a couple of frames in my Cricut design space and cut out some different frames that way. So another way you can do it is just cut out whatever size frame that you want and do your collage, or before or after, and then cut out the center with the craft knife and ruler. So lots of different ways you can do it. You could even cut it out with a scissor. Just make a hole in the center and cut out to diagonally to each corner, and then snip around the edges. But I'm going to show you what I've done so far. So this is some of the frames that I did. In the Tim Holtz version, he does well, he doesn't make the collages. It's a product that he sells already made up, but there's collages around the frame, and then there's a line of stitching on his, and the tails are left on, so I did the same thing. And then he said that there's a bit of a finish on there, so I used just a decoupage finish here that I have. You can use Mod Podge or anything that you would normally use for a finish. The backs are not finished because I'm going to glue them into a journal somewhere. I didn't make mine super thick. I don't like really super thick things in my journal because they just get too fat too quick. So I decided to keep it fairly thin. So this was just a thin cardstock, and I'm just using cardstock or thin cardboard for all of these. So they're quite flexible, but they're sturdy enough with the finish on them as well. So I'll just quickly show you what I've done. I've put a little photo there and just labels and tickets, different things. Some of them I started with kind of a neutral. This one I had a little bit of highlight of pink there. This one I have a little bit of green in it. These are all from the Sizzix die. And a couple of labels there. This is one that I cut out on my Cricut and then just collaged around it and then trimmed here. What I found out, and I'll show you how to make one in a second. There's not that much to show, but I'll make one in a second. And if you keep this edge straight as you're putting your paper down, I'll show you what I mean. It's easier because you don't have to trim out the center. It's easy to trim around the outside, but the center is a little bit harder to get it nice and neat. So there's that one. Here's a couple more from the Sizzix die. This is just a really neutral one. Here's another one from the Cricut dies. Here's another one from the Cricut dies. I made a little larger one. That would be fill up a whole page, or some of these I'll even use for journal covers probably. So you can make them any size that you want. This one was a Cricut die as well. I just kind of did a little offset frame. This one I did a little bit bigger collage decoration. Some of these other ones I'll decorate a bit more when I put them in a final journal. And this one was just some green scraps, and I did a little collage there as well. So they really turned out nice, and they're so simple to do. So I just got a few just random neutral looking scraps there, and I'm just going to grab one of my things that I cut out of my Cricut, and I'm going to glue one up. So I'll just cut, tear different things. I'm going to cut this part because, like I was saying, if you line up this edge to the inner edge there, it just makes a nice clean finish, and you don't have to worry about cleaning up the inside. If you have a craft knife and you want to clean that up and it's not a problem to you, then, you know, by all means do that. So I just take random pieces of scraps. This one, I'm already not doing what I said, but I think I'll put it at the edge there, and then I won't have to, just anything in the inside that you want kind of straight there. So it's a piece of dictionary paper. If you have different kinds of text, different tones, it looks good. Here's a piece of a hymn page. Looks good with the notes, and then with the different sized fonts. This is a bit of a different color too, and if you have quite a bit of overhang, sometimes I'll just cut it off and I'll glue it on another spot. So just like that. This was kind of neat. This is, I homeschooled my daughter, and there was just a bunch of this kind of stuff left at the end. This was just something that she had done in preschool, I guess, and it has these little images on it. Kind of fun to put in a collage. So just stick that here. And I'm just going to speed up the rest of this part because you get the drift.
Shout for joy in the Lord, oh you saints, for praise from the godly is beautiful. Lift up praise to the Lord on the harp, make melody.
Okay, so I just have all of that filled up. If you don't fill it up completely, that's okay, because we're going to do another step right away that's going to cover some of that. So flip it over and just trim off all of that excess. And it's amazing what it does just to clean that up. It just makes it look so much better already. Because it looks like not much right now. So there's your page so far. Then I usually take a little bit of washi tape and just put it a little bit here and there, just for some added interest, a little different texture. Another color. Oops. I usually put it on some of the lines so that there's not so many harsh lines there. You can use one or more colors of washi tape. I lost my end here. You can, when you put it on, you can fold it over the edge. Fold it over the inside edge or the outside edge, so that keeps those edges clean. I'll just put one more little piece here. There, so that's what that looks like so far. And then I want to put a little bit of, not really a strong focal point on these ones. These ones I did after because I wanted them in the journal like that. But these ones have, you know, not a really strong focal point, just a little bit of tags here and there. So I'm just going to do the same thing here. I'll just look and see what I've got in my book here. Here's a little label that says Inspire. I think that looks kind of neat. And I haven't been inking any of the edges here because they do sort of just fade into the background. I just put a bit of ink on that, but I probably wouldn't even bother with it. So just put a little bit of glue on that. And I am going to sew this, so I'm just putting, you know, not an huge amount of glue there. And I like it a little bit off the edge, so again, you can just wrap it around or cut it off, whichever. Let's see what else. Maybe something like this sort of thing. Oh, I'm going to cut a little bit of that white off. I might just leave that white part on there. So I'm going to put that there, and then I'll turn it over and cut that off. And then just put this somewhere else. Maybe just right here. I got a bit of a word there, but I might find some other. You can use these photographs. They look really cool too. Maybe I'll just add one of those over here. And you can, you know, leave them hanging off a little bit, especially on the inside. I think it looks kind of neat. I think I'm going to do that with this one, so it kind of makes a bit of an uneven border there. And then I'll maybe just look for a word that I can stick here, maybe even just this wisdom. I think that looks good. Different sizes of fonts and different textures, different colors, all of that makes interest in the background. So I'm kind of defining that this will be the bottom here because both of those are going that way. So still doesn't really look like much, but I'm going to take it to the sewing machine now and I'm going to stitch around. I've been stitching around the outside and the inside on these larger ones. Some of these ones I just did, this one I did that. Some of them I've just been doing one in the middle or a zigzag in the middle or whatever. So you can do whatever kind of stitching you want. So I'll be right back and show you what it looks like sewn. Okay, stitched around the edges, the outside edge and the inside edge, just on the, close to the borders there. I left the tails hanging for now. We'll see when it gets in the project if it's going to do that. And then I inked around the inside edge and the outer edge. So it already looks more cohesive, I think. And then the final step is just to add a coat of whatever sort of medium you want, just to seal the edges. You could even use white glue and a bit of water, watered down glue for this. I've done that in many other different projects. I just happened to find this bottle in my drawer the other day and I thought, well, might as well use this up. So I'll just paint that on quick. You can put a couple of coats on if you want. I've just been putting on one. When you do this, the ink will smear around a little bit, which is okay because that just kind of adds to the vintagey look. And you could do this in, you know, in any style. It doesn't have to be vintage. Like I did a few of these in sort of color. This one was kind of just a bright color. Had some pinks in them, different colors. I guess they're all sort of vintage, you know, colors, but there's some bright pops of color in, you know, the washi tape and stuff like that there. So basically that is finished. I'll just let that dry and I'll show you at the end a couple of pictures. So hope you give this a try. It's a really fun project. There's a few steps involved, but you can make a whole bunch, you know, in an hour or so, just kind of assembly line, and you use up a lot of your little itty bitty scraps, and they look just fabulous, and then you can have them in your stash for your journals. So thanks for watching today, friends. Blessings, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.
Shout for joy in the Lord, oh you saints, for praise from the godly is beautiful.